ये कौन है जो इतनी गर्मी में रोड पर सोया हुआ है? आदमी, अरे वो आदमी, तुम कौन हो? अरे दादा, इस आदमी की आंखें तो लाल हैं, लगता है ये ज़ॉम्बी है। अरे तुम कौन हो भाई, और तुम ज़ॉम्बी कैसे बन गए? अरे तुम बोल क्यों नहीं रहे हो? ये टूटा हुआ आइसक्रीम का ठेला तुम्हारा है क्या? चिंटू के पापा बचाओ!
अब तुम भी ज़ॉम्बी बनोगी।
नहीं! चिंटू देखो, इस ज़ॉम्बी के कितने बड़े बड़े और खतरनाक दांत हैं। हाँ, और इसके हाथ भी कितने बड़े बड़े हैं। अबे बुड़बको, वो ज़ॉम्बी है तो खतरनाक होगा ही। डॉक्टर, ये ज़ॉम्बी तो अभी तक ज़ॉम्बी से इंसान नहीं बना।
इंजेक्शन तो लगा दिया है इंसान बनने वाला, लेकिन असर कब तक होगा ये मुझे नहीं पता।
तुझे डॉक्टर किसने बनाया बे? तुझे तो लैट्रिन साफ करने वाला बनना चाहिए था।
तुम्हारा लड़कवा कितना बदतमीज है, देखो कैसे एक डॉक्टर से बात कर रहा है।
तू चुप कर बकलोल कहीं का, नहीं तो डंडे से मारूंगा तुझे। अब दोबारा कुछ भी डॉक्टरवा को बोला तो समझा?
चलो अब तुम सब जाओ, जैसे ही ये ज़ॉम्बी इंसान बन जाएगा तब मैं तुम्हें फोन करके बता दूंगा।
ठीक है डॉक्टर साहब, अब चलो तुम सब। अब चलो सीधा घर चलते हैं, तुम लोगों की मम्मी तुम्हारे घर पे इंतजार कर रही होगी। पापा वो देखो, रोड के बीचों बीच एक औरत खड़ी है। जल्दी टेम्पो का हॉर्न बजाओ। अरे वो औरत तो रोड पर से हट ही नहीं रही है। कहीं वो पहाड़ी तो नहीं है? हॉर्न की आवाज उसे सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है। अरे वो औरत, कम से कम तुम अपना चेहरा तो दिखाओ कि तुम हो कौन। ये तो बड़ी ही ढीठ औरत है। मैं तो कह रहा हूँ कि पापा टेम्पो चढ़ा दो इसके ऊपर। चुप कमीना, तू जा और उस औरत का हाथ पकड़कर टेम्पो के सामने से हटा। ठीक है पापा, अभी उस औरत को बताता हूँ। अरे वो औरत जी, अरे मोरी मैया, अरे दादा, अरे दादा, अरे बाप रे, अरे दादा, अरे बाप रे। अरे क्या हुआ रे? तू क्या देख लिया कि इतना कांप रहा है? तुम यहीं रहियो, लेकिन वहाँ मत जाइयो। अरे लेकिन हम वहाँ क्यों नहीं जाए? तुम यहीं रहियो, लेकिन वहाँ मत जाइयो। लेकिन मैं तो जाऊँगा। तुम यहीं रहियो, लेकिन वहाँ मत जाइयो। चिंटुआ, मार दो उसे एक झापड़। ये ले, वो औरत मम्मी है और वो ज़ॉम्बी बन गई है। क्या? मम्मी ज़ॉम्बी बन गई? लेकिन कैसे? वो दोनों ज़ॉम्बी तो हमारे पास थे। लगता है वो आइसक्रीम बेचने वाला मम्मी को काटा है और मम्मी भी ज़ॉम्बी बन गई है। रुको मैं देखता हूँ। भाग्यवान, अरे ओ भाग्यवान, तुम इतनी गर्मी में बीच रोड पर क्या कर रही हो? और तुम्हारा ये हुलिया कैसे चेंज हो गया? अरे दादा, मार दिया। बाप रे, तुम्हारी मम्मी तो बहुत ही खतरनाक ज़ॉम्बी बन गई है। बोला था कि तुम यहीं रहियो, लेकिन वहाँ मत जाइयो। पापा टेम्पो को यहाँ से जल्दी भगाओ, नहीं तो मम्मी हम सबको काट के ज़ॉम्बी बना देगी। तू चुप कर, मम्मी को हम छोड़कर नहीं जाएंगे। चलो मम्मी को भी डॉक्टर के पास ले चलते हैं। पहले भागो, बाद में उसे डॉक्टर के पास ले जाएंगे। अरे ये टेम्पो पीछे जा क्यों नहीं पा रहा? चिंटुआ देख तो पीछे। अरे पापा, पीछे वो आइसक्रीम वाला ज़ॉम्बी खड़ा है, उसी ने टेम्पो को पकड़ रखा है। क्या? लगता है अब हम सब ज़ॉम्बी बनने वाले हैं। मैं तो कहता हूँ कि चलो टेम्पो से निकलकर भागते हैं। अरे अब ये टेम्पो ऊपर कैसे उठने लगा? उस आइसक्रीम वाले ज़ॉम्बी ने टेम्पो को उठा लिया है।
The night the Green Knight rode into the city, the bells rang without hands to pull them, and every flame bent toward the gate as if the wind itself had learned fear. People would later argue about what they saw first: the color of his armor like living leaves after rain, or the calm in his eyes, old as forests, but no one would forget the sound. Not hooves, not steel, but a heartbeat, slow and patient, as though the world itself had begun to count down. He came alone, smiling, carrying no banner, asking only one thing of the city that prided itself on courage. And before dawn, a promise was made that would haunt a young squire named Aldrich, who had never held a sword in real battle, and yet would be forced to decide what kind of man he wanted to become when the Green Knight turned his gaze directly upon him. Aldrich had been polishing armor when the rider appeared, his hands black with oil, his mind wandering to simple dreams: warm bread, a quiet life, a chance to be noticed for something good. He was not brave in the way songs describe. He flinched at raised voices, avoided conflict when he could, and learned early how to be useful without being seen. So when the Green Knight dismounted in the great square and challenged any knight to strike him, promising to return the blow a year later, Aldrich watched from the edge of the crowd. Certain courage belonged to others. The silence stretched. Pride wavered. Fear tightened. And then, against his own will, Aldrich felt his feet move. He remembered his mother's voice telling him that promises are seeds, and what you plant grows whether you like it or not. He stepped forward not because he wanted glory, but because someone had to stop the waiting. The sword felt heavier than it ever had in practice. The Green Knight knelt, baring his neck, smiling as if this were a game only he understood. Aldrich's hands shook. He thought of all the ways he could fail, miss the mark, be laughed at, be remembered for weakness. But beneath that fear lay something quieter, steadier, the wish to be honest with himself. He swung. The blade flashed. The head fell. Gasps ripped through the square. And then, impossibly, the Green Knight stood, lifted his severed head by the hair, and laughed, not cruelly, but kindly, like a teacher pleased with a student's first attempt. In 1 year, the head said, lips moving, eyes bright, you will come to the Green Chapel, and I will return the gift. The rider mounted and left, carrying his own head, while the bells fell silent and the flames stood still again. For days, Aldrich could not sleep. Courage had carried him only that far. Now time did the rest. Whispers followed him. Some praised his boldness. Others pitied his foolishness. A year seemed long until it wasn't. Seasons turned. Leaves fell. Snow softened the city's sharp edges. Aldrich trained harder than ever, not to win. There was no winning, but to be ready to stand still when the moment came. He learned that bravery was not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep faith with your word even when fear begged you to run. On the morning he left, the city looked smaller behind him, and the road ahead felt like a confession he could no longer delay. The world beyond the walls was wide and indifferent, but it offered kindness in unexpected places. A widow gave him soup when he collapsed at her door, shivering with doubt. A hunter shared a fire and taught him how to listen to the forest instead of fighting it. Aldrich learned to move slower, to notice how paths bend for a reason, how storms pass if you don't challenge them. He arrived at a lord's hall on the edge of winter, where warmth and laughter wrapped around him like a promise he wanted to believe. The lord welcomed him generously, offering shelter until the Green Chapel could be found. Each night, the lord proposed a strange bargain. What he gained during the day, he would give Aldrich at night, and Aldrich must do the same. It seemed harmless enough. Each day the lord hunted, returning with trophies and tales, placing them in Aldrich's hands with a grin. Each night, the lord's wife visited Aldrich with words sharper than blades, testing his honesty, his restraint, his fear of the future. Aldrich gave back kisses stolen in awkward moments, ashamed and relieved in equal measure. Except for one small green sash she pressed into his palm on the last day, whispering that it could protect him from death. The sash weighed more than steel. Aldrich knew what it represented, the chance to break a promise quietly, to survive at the cost of truth. When the lord returned with his final prize and placed it before Aldrich, Aldrich gave back what he had received, almost everything. The sash stayed hidden. Guilt crept in beside hope, and they traveled together to the Green Chapel, a place of moss and stone where time seemed to pool rather than flow. The Green Knight waited there, whole again, sharpening an axe that sang softly with each stroke. When the moment came, Aldrich flinched. The first blow skimmed his skin, a warning more than a wound. The second halted midair, testing him. By the third, Aldrich stood trembling but upright, heart loud, eyes open. The axe nicked his neck, drawing a thin line of blood. The Green Knight stepped back, smiling that same patient smile. He spoke of the bargain, of honesty given and withheld, of the sash that glowed faintly against Aldrich's chest. Aldrich confessed, not because he was caught, but because he was tired of carrying fear like a secret weapon. He admitted he wanted to live, that he had failed to be completely true, that he was ashamed. The forest breathed. The Green Knight's voice softened. "This," he said, touching the wound, "is the mark of learning." He told Aldrich the blows matched the days of exchange, mercy answering mercy, truth answering truth, the cut a reminder that choices echo. The Green Knight was no executioner. He was a keeper of balance, a mirror held up to those who dared to look. He praised Aldrich not for perfection, but for returning, for standing still, for choosing honesty when it hurt. The sash lost its glow and became just cloth. The wound closed, leaving a scar like a leaf vein, green and thin. Aldrich returned to the city changed in ways that defied applause. He spoke less of bravery and more of keeping one's word. He taught young squires that courage grows in small decisions made daily, not in a single swing of a sword. When people asked about the Green Knight, Aldrich would smile and say that the world remembers what we promised to it, and it will always ask us to come back and answer. And on quiet nights, when the bells rang without hands and the flames leaned toward the gate, Aldrich felt no fear, only gratitude, for he had learned that the truest strength is not in striking first, but in returning to face what you once began, honest and whole.